Hey, so you remember this movie, right? The 2009 stop-motion film Coraline. It's pretty great, so let's talk about it. The film follows Coraline, the titular character's journey through a twisted alternate reality where she learns the value of family and learning to appreciate what you have. The movie begins with Coraline and her parents moving into a new townhouse somewhere in rainy Oregon. They share the Pink Palace with a few eccentric neighbors while her stressed parents ignore her.
Go out and count all the doors and windows and write that down. List everything that's blue. Just let me work.
Coraline adventures around her bleak house in the surrounding woods, and she meets a boy her age named Wybie, as well as this cunning cat. Wybie tells Coraline that his grandmother's sister went missing in the Pink Palace.
I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Later, as Coraline ventures through her house, she finds a small door that's boarded up. And that night, the door opens up to an extravagant alternate reality that she immediately falls in love with. Coraline finds her enthusiastic other mother cooking, but she is taken aback when she sees her other mother has buttons for eyes.
You're just in time for supper, dear.
The thing that makes this stand out for her is that everything in the other world is more glamorous and exciting than her normal reality. And she soon discovers, however, that the other world is a trap and that her other mother is a malevolent creature who steals children's souls.
You may come out when you've learned to be a loving daughter.
Coraline has to be brave and outwit her other mother in order to save her parents and go home. And Coraline is a poignant film that utilizes principles of horror and folklore to symbolize maturation and fortitude. So let's get into it. When Coraline was released, the film was met with critical acclaim and success. And I don't know about you, but I remember seeing this for the first time and being absolutely horrified. But I loved it, and to this day I find myself still watching it pretty frequently, at least once a year. I even bought a new copy of it because it was taken off of Netflix not too long ago. You see, Coraline is a unique story because it breaks genre expectations, but it doesn't end there. The story itself is widely beloved by people everywhere, so much in fact that it's also been adapted into a graphic novel as well as this film. The movie is based on Neil Gaiman's middle grade novella, and the book was published in 2002, and while it was a creepy yet beautiful coming-of-age tale, I mentioned the story before has had several different iterations, and this includes Craig Russell's graphic novel adaptation. Craig Russell gave the graphic novel a naturalistic art style because he believed it would better suit the story. Gaiman's novel is straightforward and realistic, hence the graphic novel depicting a more believable story of a girl facing maturation and trauma. Henry Selick, however, leaned into the story's spectacle. The extravagance and chilling nature of stop motion better establishes the antithesis of Coraline's mundane reality in her beautiful, treacherous trap. Also, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to tell you that Henry Selick directed The Nightmare Before Christmas, not Tim Burton. Okay, back to the video. Stop motion is a film medium with a very particular mood, and many stop motion films are inherently ominous or fantastical, much like The Corpse Bride. And it makes sense considering that most of the more notable stop motion films have been made to sort of carry this bleak and dark tone, even if they are quote-unquote kids movies. Not only that, but deciding to make a film in a stop motion format gives a sense of disorientation, and in the case of Coraline, it makes the film a nightmare to watch. Also, this is just a more visually interesting movie to watch than like 90% of what other children's animated films were released at this time. This device also makes sense as Coraline's mundane reality looks bleak and lifeless, whereas the other world is vibrant and elusive. The spectacle of the other world, however, quickly becomes oppressive and threatening. The YouTube channel My Little Thought Tree also compared this film to the haunting 1991 claymation short film The Sandman, which follows a young boy on a nightmarish journey to escape a bird-like monster. The monster eventually finds the boy, claws out his eyes, and feeds the eyes to her babies. Talk about a family movie the kids will love. The mise-en-scene and editing of Coraline clearly establishes Coraline's coming-of-age journey. Her threatening environment grows more malicious as the story goes on, as the other world becomes more oppressive and ominous. But the scene that truly utilizes elements of horror is in the beginning of the third act, when the other mother transforms into her beldam form. Let's take a look at it.
I want to be with my real mom and dad. I want you to let me go.
Is that any way to talk to your mother?
You aren't my mother.
Apologize at once, Coraline.
No.
I'll give you to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3!
Ow! What are you doing? Ow, that hurts!
The scene slowly builds to a point that shows Coraline challenging the other mother, rising to her level. The following shot is a low-angle shot of the other mother as she transforms, and the third shot is a high-angle reaction shot of Coraline. The fourth shot shows the other mother grabbing Coraline and pulling her through a long, narrow hallway. The other mother's transition is a shot cut because it is surprising and jarring. Following that, the last shot is an example of disjunctive editing, as the audience sees obvious and stylized editing choices. This is also the last time that we see the other mother before the events of the third act start to play out. Coraline, at its core, is a modern iteration of Gothic folklore. Scholar Rhonda Brock-Servais states that the boundary for what is thematically appropriate for children has become much more fluid in recent years. The decision to utilize horror and folklore in a children's story is quite common. Coraline is a solid example of intertwining bleak terror with metaphysical plainness and using the weird to reshape narratives of maturation. YouTuber Ryan Hollinger states that Coraline can be categorized in 3 different ways: as a fairy tale, a film with grotesques, or a ghost story. The film has several elements of a fairy tale, such as Coraline having a strained relationship with her mother, having to strike a deal with her enemy, and winning her parents back. Fairy tales often teach children a lesson or virtue, as in Coraline feeling gratitude for the mundane at the end of the film. The film is also filled with grotesques, or blurred boundaries of reality. Grotesques can often switch between the comic and terrifying, or when the beautiful becomes threatening. The other world and the other mother start off in a place of spectacle and fun, yet they slowly become malevolent and dangerous as the film plays out. Coraline can also be described as a ghost story. She begins the story by moving into a haunted house with disturbing history. When Coraline finally meets the ghost children, they want something of her. They want to be free after realizing the cost of getting what they want, which is probably the most interesting aspect of this film for me. The real lore and myths that inspired Coraline are quite haunting. Neil Gaiman stated that he had no specific inspiration for the novella, minus a nightmare his daughter once had. Gaiman has admitted, though, that he reads plentiful folklore that often subconsciously inspires his writing. YouTube film analyst StoryDive also did a video on this and researched the different myths related to Coraline. One example is the short story The New Mother by Victorian author Lucy Clifford. The story follows 2 sisters who are abandoned by their mother and visited by a horrific new mother with unnatural eyes. Sound familiar? The gothic and unsettling elements of Coraline symbolize how Coraline matures and finds strength through her trauma. An interesting aspect of this movie is Coraline's strained relationship with her real mother versus her other mother. Her real mother, although stressed and strict, loves her daughter, but Coraline does not acknowledge the beauty of the mundane. Contrastingly, her other mother showers her with gifts and adoration. At first, Coraline loves her alternate reality, but the other mother's affections soon become narcissistic and controlling. The other mother's love isn't real love, it's possessiveness. When the other Wybie shows Coraline his sewn mouth, it symbolizes how feeling emotionally trapped takes your voice away. By the end of the film, Coraline learns that she is strong enough to fight through any fear-inducing, horror-like environment that life throws her way. This movie is a special piece of film that explores a number of themes, like what it means to grow up and to find joy in life in the mundane. Scholar Chloe Germain Buckley states that this story offers children a perfect environment to explore their fears and fantasies by facing the Gothic. The film has accumulated a cult following in recent years because this film is timeless. The story offers a deep psychoanalysis of children and trauma. Coraline is a fantastically brave yet relatable protagonist, and scholar Sarah K. Day states that folklore offers the opportunity to break gender and societal limitations. She also states that Coraline tells viewers and readers that culturally feminine qualities such as collaboration, intuition, and imagination make us brave and powerful. I hope more children and young women find this movie and find joy in their lives, and the resilience that already lies within themselves.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video, but I thought I would also use this time to catch you up on things that I've been watching and just fill you in on sort of why I haven't posted in a little over a month now. So I had the Coraline video written early in December. I got to a point where I went on vacation, and that was fun. But while I wasn't posting, I was watching new releases and new movies to sort of just have content to talk about, and I was really excited to talk about those movies, and I will talk about them a little bit at the end of this video. The biggest reason I haven't posted was just complications in life. The biggest one is that I got COVID. I am obviously alive and well, but I couldn't do the video while I was sick because I was coughing every 5 seconds. It was the worst time. But regardless, I'm gonna end this video with a few slides of some of the movies that I saw and what I thought about them. Thank you guys again so much for watching. If you can subscribe, comment, and like below, it really means a lot more than you realize, and I just want to say thank you.